Hi, Nick Collier here, and this is my shop. Come join me. We'll have some fun. Nick Collier here again, and we're going to work on a fairly small project, but a fairly interesting one. I ended up doing a metal fence extension for a friend of mine in town, and it was a pretty complicated job. Let me get you the extension that I made. Okay, so the job was the wife was very upset because the deer kept jumping their 8-foot fence, which surrounded about 4 acres, and eating her roses. So she wanted to put a fence around the entire 4 acres. Well, we got the fence around most of it. So the job is to extend the fence up to 12 feet, because I swear I've seen deer jump a 12-foot fence without even trying. So how do you do that? And I have a piece of T-post here somewhere. Where's it at? There it is. So you recognize the T-post. I cut this off of an existing post, and you know, how do you deal with that? How do you put something on top of that, because it's such an odd shape? Well, after much thought, I came up with a sleeve that would slide over the top of the T-post right there, and then the nut or the bolt would lock down on the T-post and give us, okay, come on, let's lock down, and give us a good grip and a fairly straight vertical post. And so I put, I made, how many of these did I make? 70 something, 80 something, and then drilled a hole in each section on my way up, and basically what we did was we took each of these posts, we laid it against the fence at ground level, we ran the wires, and then as a unit we put them up on top of the post, and it worked pretty well. Got it done, and I noticed that their front gate had this kind of dopey little opener to it. You know, they have the car gate, which opened and closed automatically, but along the side was like a human gate, and it had this little piece of wire that kind of held the gate closed. And so, as a gift and as a thank you for giving me that job, and I made a few bucks on the deal. I'm now making them a nice latch for that gate, and that's where we're at now. So here's basically what the existing gate latch looks like. There's looks like about a 4-inch box tube steel with a little 1 1/4-inch box tube steel connector of some sort welded to it, and then an eye bolt on the actual gate itself, and that basically the gate opens and closes this way. So we've got an eye bolt and a box tube at a 1 1/4-inch ID, 2.5 inches over from here over to the bolt, and a 4-inch drop. So what I want to do is I want to make something that I can just walk over to the gate and jam it in that hole, and maybe hit it a couple times with a hammer and have it just lock in, and have the mechanism, the gate mechanism, already set up and ready to go, and then it comes over and locks into that eye bolt. So we're pretty much gonna wing this one. I'm not sure what's gonna happen. I've cut a piece of 1 1/4-inch square. Well, it's not exactly square, it's 1 1/4-inch this way, and a little bit more than 1 1/4 inch that way. What I'm gonna do is taper both sides just slightly, just so that when I put it in that 1 1/4 inch hole, I can hit it with a hammer and it'll wedge itself in, and that'll be what we end up with. Now, as far as I can tell, I'm going to drill a hole through the center of this and get a piece of bar stock, probably some of that 5/8 that I used. I ended up with a lot extra, just scrap pieces laying around, and make a T-handle, and one side of the handle will go outside of the gate and the other side of the handle will be inside of the gate, so you can just kind of pick the handle up, slide it, it comes out of the eye bolt, and then you open the gate and let it drop back down. Now, in order to do that, we need to kind of square up these edges, and I've got my square there, but remember, I want to put just a slight taper on that. So I think what I'm going to do is come in with some kind of spacer just to bring this up, of course not that far, but bring it up just slightly, and then use that spacer on the other side when I rotate it around. So hang in there with me. Let's have some fun. All right, so we found a little 10/1000 shim that I got off of something, I can't remember. We'll drag this over. We'll drop it in on the parallels, and that'll give us 10/1000. Oops, slipped off. There we go. Just 10/1000 taper, hopefully. And since we have this mill bit in and everything is already set up, I'm just going to run it. I'm going to make 2 passes, one on each side of the piece. Okay, let's see what we got. Oh, we're going too slow. There we go. Coming down. Let's come up just a little bit. Alright, we may end up making 3 passes. Nice. So now we want that taper, and if we come in like this, so what we really need is 2 of these, and I just happen to have 2, and that'll double the taper. Oops. Up a little higher. All right, let's see how we did. I think we got a bit of a taper on that. And we're sitting at 5, and on this side we're sitting at 5, 10, 15, 20. So that's a slight taper. Now the question is how big is it? 260 something. So we need to be down at 250. So we're going to take another 10. Let's just see what we can do. And that should bring us down to 250. Yep, 248. That's fine by me. All right, so we've got our basic structure here. Now what we want to do is clean up the top. Pretty good. So, and I'm just, shooting from the hip here. I'm thinking what I can do is drill a hole all the way through it and then put a slot down one side of it. I'm wondering if it might be better to put a slot. Let me draw this. Put a slot like this. Bigger, of course, because that's going to be 5/8. You lift the handle, you can't come all the way up, maybe bring it all the way up to the top here. Somewhere in that general area. You can't come all the way up, but you can lift it just far enough to get it out of that eye bolt. I think that's a good one. So what we want to do is find center here. That looks pretty close. I think we're going to do a center drill in here just to be careful, just to get everything centered out. Good enough. Okay. Slow everybody down. That looks good. And I think what I want to do is go ahead and put my automatic feed in. That way I don't have to stand here. All right, well, we punched through. There we go. Let's take the chuck out. All right. Okay, we got ourselves a hole. Put our parallels back in. And I think what we'll do is go ahead and drill a hole first. Okay, so we got a 1/2 inch drill bit. We're gonna just run that right down through the center of this with a little bit of a shoulder there. And actually, I think we'll do it from the other end. Oh, I can't remember which end was narrow. We will have to measure that. There's 20. Yeah, so this is the end that's wide. And this is the end that wants to get drilled. Drill comes out, mill bit goes in. Let's bring it up. And we'll just run her down. Okay, so I must, out of the scrap of building this fence, I must have ended up with 30 of these little numbers. Well, it doesn't look like it's big enough. So we'll have to turn it down a little bit and get it to fit. This is hot roll, and you know how hot roll is, not that accurate. So we'll just turn it down a little bit and get ourselves a piece, oh, I don't know, maybe about that long. And we'll put threads on one end so we have a bottom. Actually, we don't even need threads now that I think of it. We'll be back. All right, let's see what we got. we'll take it over to the saw and cut that off and then see what we can do. Alright, so we're going to come in and just put a little bit of a radius on this back side here, or on the bottom and the top. Nothing real complicated. That should be plenty. We'll do it on the other side. And we've got ourselves a pin. So let's go back over to the mill. We've got a couple more things to do here, and we'll get rolling. All right, well, what we've got here, I think, is I want to put a hole in here and thread it, and then put a hole all the way through here, or maybe, yeah, all the way through, and then thread it, and then bring my threads in. Let's see, I might be able to weld it. Well, anyhow, so this is going to sit down like that. It'll come down and hit right about there, so actually my hole wants to be just a little bit lower. Somewhere in that general area. And then I lift up. Oh, wait a second. This hole wants to be 90 degrees off from that hole. Yep. Because this is the handle that comes out and lifts up, and this comes out to catch the eye bolt. All right, well, that's a good start. Let's put this in here. Actually, I'm going to put it in this way. We're going to take a measurement. We're going to find center. Okay, it can come out here, drop down, come in, grab center, turn that off. Center will be here, so we're going to come in 100. $95, 100, and then we're going to come in. That's, what is that? What are we left with? Well, we're left with 600 thousandths. So then we just come in another 3. 1, 2, 80, 90, 3. All right. Take our center out. I think we can go in with a 7/16 here. Yeah, that's probably pretty good. So 7/16 by 20 is a 25/64. First thing we should do is get a center hole going. First thing we should do is put the chuck in. Then get a center hole. And set that up right close to the end. I'd say right there is probably pretty good. Drill that. I don't know, that looks a little bit big. Let's go down to 3/8.